2 rounds into the SsangYong Action Racing Series from Hampton Downs to Pukekohe. Plenty of action, plenty of drama, plenty of sideways racing. And now this is it, round 3 at Taupo. BNZ in association with LDB, Hankook, Elf and BGW proudly present the SsangYong Action Racing Series. Summertime at the Great Lake. You gotta love Taupo, ideal for fishing, boating, relaxing, and of course, motor racing. At Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park, the scene for round 3 of the SsangYong Action Racing Series. Some great cars lining up, very, very close in the championship, back to 2 sprint races in the mini enduro, all chasing the series leader, Todd Prugine, but there's just 6 points at the top of the table. So let's see how they line up for the opening race of the weekend. It is the series leader, Todd Prugine, setting the pace on pole, followed by Christina Orr, Mark Mallard, the series leader in great form, followed by Murray, Brook, Foster, Stoneman, Watson, Cherie, Vanderloos with a new livery over the weekend. More about that as we go racing with the rolling start, race 1, hot sunny weather at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park. Slightly cooler conditions today. 3 wide into turn 1. That's no surprise, Mork, is it?
Certainly not, Brownie. If they can survive turn 1, and it's all potentially kind of unstuck in turn 2. If they can master that, then they'll be all right for the rest of the lap, man. That is an aggressive start, 3 into 1.
Mark Mallard, look at that, streaming through turn 2, off to a flyer.
Brown, it's not something you see every day, is 22 SsangYong utes get through turn 1 and 2 relatively unscathed.
Yeah, and flowing around this tight technical part of the infield.
Oh, the whole track's technical, Brownie. You got equal amount of left and right-hand corners. You got fast corners. You got slow. You got one of the longest straights in New Zealand. As a matter of fact, it's that long. It's actually incorporates a drag strip into it as well. This place is the complete racing circuit. Great
part of the circuit here. The drive out of turn 7 sweeps into 8. Then you got the off-camber corner, turn 9, which everyone's been told about by Terry O'Brien, the clerk of the course over the weekend. Don't go wide at turn 9 and stick it on the grass.
Yeah, this is turn 9 right now. It's the exit of the corner that you're referring to, Brownie, and is a legitimate concern because you have to come in, you have to hit the curves on the inside to keep the momentum going. It's just on the right-hand side there as the utes shuffle through. But what happens is you carry a little bit too much speed, you go out, you actually run off the track, and then it throws the debris up and it causes mayhem.
Yeah, it builds big ruts in the grass, and you get on the other side of the concrete from the racing ripples, and then that can cause drama as spews cars right off into the concrete fence on the other side.
It certainly does. Talk about drama. This last corner, coming onto the back straight, it's magnificent. It's so slow and it's very technical. You've got to set yourself up for then this eternity of a back straight, and then after that you've got a hard brake. So you've got to execute the move, set yourself up, and get 11, 12 and 13 right before you come on turn 14 to the front straight.
Fantastic part of the track here as they sweep off the log straight and down through the complex. It's the left, right, left sort of combo, and it's all about being able to get that momentum as well as braking with the straight line.
Oh, it is. It's all about the technical side of it. You've got to come in, you've got to set yourself up because it's such a fast-flowing track. And if you do get it wrong or you decide to be the aggressor, you can lose so many places in the blink of an eye.
Number 30, Murray Brook. He's been one of the early series challengers in a great showdown with Todd Prugine. Only 6 points at the top of the table between himself and Brook. Prugine and Brook. Then you've got the likes of Mallard and Stoneman. So very close on the points going into this particular round. Of course, the Enduros at the end of the season, that's where it could be decided. No defending champion. There's Kirk Stoneman, number 22, but Peter Bennett, that's where he got all that momentum last year going into the Enduros. Callum Hedge back racing for the weekend.
He's done plenty of miles, isn't he? Lots of different cars.
Oh, contact!
They're all going to miss him. Yeah, select first gear and away they go. Left the little bit of room down the inside, and as we know in SsangYongs, you don't really need much invitation for someone to have a plug at you.
So let's take a look at what happened on the replay. Number 11 is Quinlan, 182 is Heaney, and it's 71 Holland who gets into the rear of 96 Callum Hedge. He missed qualifying on the Friday. That's the reason why he's down the mid-pack and subject to these sort of battle packs. Oh!
Actually called that a bit wrong about Callum Hedge. He was just the innocent victim there, wasn't he? Now, look at this mayhem. It's Rick Cooper going hard across the grass and still going to contest this all the way up to turn 8.
So unfortunately for Callum Hedge, it was just the fact that Holland just locked it up going into turn 7.
Wrong place, wrong time, Brownie. Unfortunately, it does happen.
So it's Mark Mallard, Todd Prugine, Christina Rall. What a great scrap out in the front of the field as they head down to the complex.
I've got to say, this is probably the most competitive running I've seen from Mark Mallard. He's had some good results before. Todd Prugine's over him like a rash, and of course Christina will join this battle, but he's doing everything right. He's hitting all the apexes, hitting the braking markers. He's just driving fantastic.
He's been doing a lot of racing in a variety of classes over the last couple of weekends as part of the Toyota Racing Series and the SsangYongs and other classes. So he's got a lot of seat time, and it's really paying off because he's in a nice racing rhythm.
You're right, Brownie, and you're correct in the racing rhythm, and we just saw that in-car footage. There's no panic. There's no urgency from him. He's just doing everything naturally. It's fantastic to see.
Great part of the circuit here at Taupo as you roll over that ripple at 4, down, look for the inside line at 5, get the drive out through 6, and then you've got to set yourself up around 7 because that's all about getting a fast lap, that exit speed onto 8, 9 and 10.
So essentially, if you want to pass someone coming to the back straight, this is the corner here that you execute it. You drop back a little bit, you get an absolute fly off the corner, you keep the momentum going into this very fast left-hander, which is what we call turn 8. That leads into turn 9, which we alluded to at the beginning of the show, that if you go too wide, you pick up the dust and you'll get a black flag for unsportsmanlike behaviour. You've got to keep the momentum building. So if he's going to have a crack at him, it's going to be down the inside. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Turn 9. You don't want to get wide there. And exactly, he's got the momentum, 44. Todd Prugine down into turn 11. And there's so many ways in and out of this corner, and he's going to nail it round the apex.
But look for the cutback. Mark Mallard's now got the inside running come down the back straight, so it's not over by any stretch.
Great racing.
Yes, it is, sorry.
But he made it stick, and exactly what you said. We started at turn 7, through 8, slightly wide at 9, opened the door, and Prugine says, thanks, mate. Good on you, Mark.
That's right. It's just about the momentum and thinking. You've got to think 2 or 3 corners ahead. Now, this is going to do nothing for Mark. He's just going to put him on all the marbles and all of the debris and put him on the wrong side of the track coming into the last corner.
Big, bold racing, no?
Oh, mate, he's fighting it. He is fighting it like there's no tomorrow. And the reason why he's fighting it, Brownie, is that if Todd goes a little bit wide on the exit of the corner, he'll duck down the inside into turn 1. Coming into the last lap, could have another crack at the lead here.
Oh, frustration for Mallard. He's not happy.
Has he got a technical issue? Because he's just slowed right down unexpectedly.
Will he let Prugine through at the top of the circuit? And he's actually going, I think he might think the race is over.
You're right, because these two guys in front, Christina and Todd, they're cracking on like the race is still at full speed.
They're still racing. He may have lost count of the actual laps. Might be possibly a bit of confusion.
Yeah, because these guys are showing no signs of slowing down. This is still race speed, so if the checkered flag had come out, we would expect some of the speed to go out of them because it's meant to be a cool-down lap. So you're right. Maybe Mark's just miscalculated and hasn't realised there's still 1 lap of racing to go, which is a shame, because he had honest crack at winning that race.
Oh, he was dead set super fast. Just one little mistake, he allowed Prugine through. As we talked about it, all it starts here at turn 7, and then you set yourself up through 8, 9, and around that big looping hairpin sweeper at the top of the track here, the old part of the circuit at Taupo. And that's where he went wide, just coming out of there. And we talked about turn 9. All of a sudden now he thinks, what? I've got a battle pack.
Now he's got to regather his thoughts because he's still in a genuine, chance of getting 3rd place, but he's got to keep momentum going, especially if he's actually done the duff up himself because of he thought it was the checkered flag lap, not the last lap.
So that's unfortunate for Mark Mallard, who has really been in great form. This is another great shot around turn 11. And the entry onto the long straight at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park.
Man, this is the most uncomfortable driving position I've ever seen of any driver. Look at his arm, how bent it is trying to select gears. There's just nothing natural about the poise of this driver in this ute.
Sort of like a claw, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's not meant to be like that. You're not even meant to have a hand on the gear lever for a start, but it's obviously working.
It's certainly been working for Todd Prugine. Oh, drifting into the checkered flag. Go, you good thing. Number 44 opened the door and he slams it shut for another win. Christina Rall comes home in 2nd. Did Mallard hang on for 3rd? Let's find out. Prugine or Morgan Foster getting up for 3rd ahead of a frustrated Mark Mallard. Brooks, Stoneman, Watson, Cherie, Vanderloos and Cooper rounding out the top 10. A few newbies also getting on the scoreboard, but a disappointing return to the series for Callum Hedge. But it's all about Todd.
Yeah, well, the last lap board came out twice, but just kept going. I wasn't going to stop, and considering the issues we had, we were stuck in gear most of the time, so couldn't change gear. So pretty stoked with the results, having the MWN team on top again.
Yeah, no, it's great considering, you know, we've got a bent chassis rail. It's quite a bit out, so, you know, we were touch and go whether we were going to do this weekend, but we decided that, you know, if it rained, I'd be sweet, but it's going really mint in the dry as well, so we're pretty happy, but a little bit of drama at the end there, so we'll see what happens to my second place.
Yeah, I came over and saw the last lap board, and then the next lap came round and was battling with Taupo. We had a great battle and came across the line, thought it was a checkered flag. It was apparently a black and white flag that was not furled, and I was so close to Todd I just couldn't see the flag, and so I just thought it was the end of the race. Christina got me, and then it wasn't until I was coming around waving at the crowd that I got a bump in from behind. I thought, why am I getting bumped on the slowdown lap? Better get going, and off in SsangYong Racing I was. So it's just great racing. We had a great start. Dad set up the car awesomely for the start. We knew we were going to be good at the start, we were going to struggle at the end, and that's just what happened. Unfortunately, it was a good race, but just a hard work.
1 down, 2 to go. Stick around as we continue with the action in the SsangYong Racing Series. Welcome back. Here's the busiest man on the track, Mark Mallard.
It's been fantastic. We've got 21 cars out there this week, and we're still trying to get a few more in. With the enduros coming up, we've got some interest from overseas coming over, so it'll be fantastic. The 2 Aussie driver searches in Charlotte Ponting has really increased the interest overseas of the SsangYongs, and just the cost price racing, it just makes it so easy for people to get in. We're getting more and more people in. Yeah, the Enduro Series, we're really looking forward to that. 16th of March at Pukekohe Park, 2 1.5-hour races. SsangYong New Zealand decided to put it on free for the public, so that's just fantastic of SsangYong to do that. Free entry for the public, so we'd love to see everyone come out totally free, bring the family, bring a picnic. We'd love to see just people out there enjoying SsangYong races.
Yes, some great initiative there from Mark Mallard and the team organising the racing, so it's easy to race, easy to watch, and easy to enjoy the action. And here's how they line up for race 2. It's based on their lap times from race 1. Prujing Orr leading the challenge once again, and plenty of chances for the other cars further back down the field. Rolling start once again, and here we go. Green flag down into turn 1. Let's see how neat and tidy they are. A bit of racing room and a bit of respect from the get-go, Mork.
Yeah, it is, but this is going to be quite pivotal for these top 4 or 5 utes because fastest to the front, so they have to establish themselves very early in this race, Brownie, because you don't want to lose 1 or 2 spots because the competitors you're battling with just as fast, if not a little bit faster than you. So you've got to stamp your authority very early.
That's exactly what Prujing is doing. Callum Hedge, 96 on the comeback trail. There's Mark Mallard. James Watson in the blue, number 3. Brooke clawing his way into turn 7, literally.
Oh man, he just goes in there, throws it in first gear, and that causes the ute to understeer, Brownie, and that's what we've seen. That's why he's using the other ute basically to slow him down, because he had so much speed going in there with the understeer, he wasn't going to stop no matter what happened. So keep in mind, very fast right-hander, and there's a ute to the side of him.
Oh, and that's muscling. Yep. He's got to stay on the track there. Well done.
That's it. It's good racing. Now he's got the momentum and the inside line. But it's very tight hairpin.
Yeah, as they say at Taupo, got to keep it in between the lines here.
Yeah, look,
easier said than done.
Yeah, it's open for interpretation, the white lines. Been there before, but it's, 4 into 1 corner. Now, you've got this long back straight, as we spoke about in race 1, so you've got to come off the last corner. You've got to keep the thing flowing. You've got to keep the momentum going, because if you go too aggressive in the middle of the corner and you take a little speed out, you've lost it for a long time.
Here's the slipstream on board 96, Callum Hedge. Had a great start to the series at Pukekohe. Now he's been driving a few other makes and models, coming back to get a bit more seat time before he goes back to the 86s. All over the back of Prugene.
Now, I'm at full respect of what I just seen Callum Hedge do there. He went through those last 2 or 3 corners. He didn't panic, he hit the brakes, he come off, he let the car coast from one corner to the other just to keep the momentum going. It's pretty mature driving.
Christina Raw West currently in 3rd, Mallard 4th. Then a whole train of SsangYong utes. Christina Raw was talking about problems from race 1. Their car has got basically a bit of a bent chassis, and it's sort of set up to turn right on a left-turning track, which would be a handful, yet they ended up still having quite a bit of speed, so go figure.
Yeah, look, sometimes something good comes out of something bad, and every now and then you've got to muscle the utes to get them over some, probably technical issues like you're saying with the bent chassis rail. That's not in anybody's interest or favour to have something like that, but sometimes you just got to grab the bull by the horns and just muscle it to get the time and the speed out of it.
James Watson, number 3. He doesn't like too many cars to actually touch his one. He said it already came with a few dents and dings and pre-rippled. Streaming out of turn 8. Watch out for the number 51 ute. You'll just see it coming into the background. It's all about saving the wild. It's a great initiative by Dion Cooper and Tom van der Loos, helping to save the Rhino. Now they're streaming into turn 11. Couple of ways in and out of this corner. Great feature here at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park.
It is, and this is the critical corner. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Christina Orr, she come into that corner a little bit too fast. A little bit of understeer. I think she was hoping to do the switchback on Callum Hedge, but unfortunately, because she carried a little bit too much speed going in there, cost her a lot of time coming out of the corner. It's all about set yourself up to get the best execution coming onto this back straight.
Big, long back straight. Turatunga's got a 1K straight. This is around about that 890, 900 mark. Of course, it's part of a drag strip, so it's great for these guys to really unleash as much power as they can get. A little bit of slipstreaming and sort of bump drafting down the back straight. 1, 2, 3 wide going into the braking into the complex.
Some stage though, you got to get back to one, maximum of 2 utes going side by side, because 3 is never going to work through this complex of corners ever.
Lance Northcott.
You want to stay away from that wall on the right-hand side, Brownie. Many famous people have actually hit that wall, both outside and inside, and it's not very forgiving when you do hit it.
No, exactly. And here's one of the great passing opportunities as they lock it up. One of the drivers from the Aussie Driver Search. And so many drivers have locked it up going into turn 1. They sort of drift wide, but then they're on the comeback trailer. You duck down into 2, but then you're on the outside at 3.
Yeah, but then he's on the inside for 4 and 5. So if he can survive here, and that's what I'm saying, because this circuit was actually built for international motorbike racing, so it's got the same amount of left and right-hand corners. That was part of the requirement back then. So you've got a left and a right, right, left. So it's always equal at the end of the day.
And it flows from one to the other, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It's a magnificent circuit. Like, you've got fast corners, slow corners, but say one corner leads on to 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4 corners thereafter. And that's the understeer again I was speaking about. Way off into the boondocks. In too fast, understeer, stage exit, hard right.
And the other challenge here at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park, you've got to try and keep it on the tarmac. As soon as you drift wide, to get it onto the grass, it blows up like a pumice type sort of soil that is almost like sleet or almost like an oil. It's very, very slippery when it starts to blow across the circuit.
Oh, it does. You also mix in the marbles, which we can see off this magnificent footage which we've got here as well. There is nothing in your favour, and especially if the wind starts blowing here. And what's interesting is that in any other circuit in New Zealand, you can use one set of tyres from one circuit to another. After this event, tyres are essentially useless because the grain or the sand gets in the tyre, it cools off, the tyre never ever recovers.
Yes, they say it's tight, technical and hard on tyres at Taupo.
Oh, it is very hard.
But good racing, and they're doing a great job as we head towards the last lap.
Yeah, but is it? We fell victim for that in race 1, I'm pretty certain. No, they won't repeat that mistake.
I wonder what Mark Mallard's thinking.
Here we go, battle for the lead. Callum Hedge versus Todd Prugene, 2 young hard chargers.
Young teenager from Auckland, showing great racecraft, great tenacity behind the wheel. Prugene, one of the big improvers out of the series from last year. Oh, has a look, Hedge. Shuts the door, Prugene.
You want to be a bit careful what he does, though, because Christina will have the momentum coming out of here and she'll set herself up. We know if you can set yourself up for turn 6, sorry, as we're going into now.
Oh, contact! Contact between All West and Hedge. Man, he's had a bad run around that corner this weekend.
Interesting to have a look at some in-car footage if we got it, because I think he actually turned into Christina. Mind you, I called race 1 wrong, so I'm not going to be too brave.
Let's have
Here
a
we
look
go.
on board. So we're on board with Callum Hedge.
Oh, no. Called that one wrong again, I'm sorry. He just looks like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Christina got into him.
So welcome back, Callum Hedge.
Yeah, the level of frustration shows.
But I tell you what, this guy has been Mr. Prudent, hasn't he? Todd Pruging. He's just been very smart, very smooth. That old saying, smooth and fast. Looks like it's boring, but you are going really well and keeping it on the tarmac.
That's right, you've got all 4 wheels working in unison and you've got the thing flowing as opposed to understeering or oversteering. It's going to be fast.
So on board the man who's currently dominating the SsangYong Action Racing Series, Todd Pruging, number 44. See how he's nice and smooth going through this difficult part of the track.
Oh, it's poetry in motion, it truly is.
And this is the sight you love to see when you're motor racing, the checkered flag. 2 from 2, what a great way to start the weekend and keep the momentum going. Rest of the field streaming across the line. So let's confirm those results. Todd Pruging goes back-to-back. Christina Orr grabs second. And this time, Mark Mallard hangs on for third. Callum Hedge, been in the wars this weekend, fourth. Murray Brook rounds out the top 5. Good experience for the rest of the field back down the field.
Yeah, well, I'm stoked to come home with the win in the MWNU. Callum gave me a bit of pressure at a few points, but I knew just keep cool and see what I can do, hang on to it, and it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Second's great. It's going to stay second. I could have, there was contact made. We all both think we're in the right, but, at the end of the day, rubbing's racing, but, walking someone off the track and then not expecting them to try and turn back onto the track's just ridiculous.
I'm just absolutely stoked. It's my first podium in a SsangYong ute, and the team from Creme Insurance behind me, it's fantastic, and it's good to get it on merit and get up there and race with the boys, and it's a tough series, but it was awesome to be up there. I'm stoked to be talking to you now.
I've been in it since it started, and I keep coming back because it's affordable, it's enjoyable, and it actually keeps your racecraft sharp. I went straight from the SsangYong into the Merc, and we made history by I made history becoming the first woman to win an outright GT3 class. They're not a race car; they are a road car built into a race car, so they don't have the modern quirks. But the thing about them is that they teach you about momentum and racecraft, and you've got to be wise about the moves you make out there, and that's the biggest thing that big teams are looking for. Come to the SsangYong, we're all a great bunch of people and we're willing to help out. SsangYong behind the scenes still helps us with cheap parts and supplies prize money, and that's the biggest thing, is that we have prize money, and that prize money goes towards making your entry fee cheaper for the next round.
Yes, it certainly is a Super Series $50,000 prize pool to help everyone go motor racing. And here's the grid for race 3. It's the 40-minute mini enduro, full reverse grid, so it's going to be a real challenge for some of the slower drivers at the start. Don't forget, they've got a 20-minute pit window after 10 minutes and before 30. So, rolling start, and away we go.
Geez, that one was a rolling start. That's actually a drag race. I dare say there were flat sticks coming out of the last corner. Probably at full racing speeds, but yeah.
So this is going to be a real battle of strategy now. Clint Brown and Mark Pedersen here at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in the sunshine, and a great field and a great chance for some of the other guys at the front of the field this time in the reverse grid showdown to get some racing room and really see how good they are.
They will do, but they've got to try to pass and also realise that the utes that have more speed are behind them trying to make their way through. But because this is a 40-minute enduro, doesn't mean anything. You still have to execute your way through the field without sustaining any damage, especially on this track, because there's so many interpretations into each corner by each driver.
Alex Sherry, number 77, actually took a photograph with me when we were doing some TV many years ago and got the bug, and here he is actually motor racing, which is great, isn't it?
That's what they call the circle of life, is it, Brown?
Yeah, it's great, fantastic. Caught up with him and his dad, so we'll see how he goes throughout the rest of the series. So he's gone from being a kid, trackside, to actually being a tall teenager, the size of a giraffe. Oh, stay on it. Yeah, there's that saving wild ute, so they almost got lost around about turn 9.
Brownie, because this is a 40-minute enduro and the pit window opens at minute 10, it's open for 20 minutes, when you're one of these competitors at the back, we got a bit of speed, but you're battling with everybody else that's similar, the very second that pit window opens, you want to come through, do your tour, do your drive-through, and then carry on, because you actually go back in fresh air, you're by yourself, then you got true race speed. So I reckon that the minute the window opens, you're going to see a lot of these utes come through.
Well, that's the battle of strategy. Get in, get it done, get on with it. Don't leave it to the last minute. So we'll see who goes first, who goes last. But it's all up to the drivers and the race teams. There's that Saving Wild ute that Dion Cooper and Tom Vanderloos have organised. Great initiative from the marketing team at SsangYong, helping to raise money for the prevention of the rhinos, to keep them alive.
Interesting,
Great.
Brownie. In the background, Todd Prugine, 1-2. He's already up to 8th or 9th place. So he has started off the back, just dived down the inside of Charlotte Ponting already. He is in the box seat. I know we're early in this race, but if he's made that much ground up already and he's executed the moves on the competitors at similar speed to him, he is going to look very good come minute 40 of this race.
On board with number 51, this is the Saving Wild ute, Tom Vanderloos. It's ironic he's doing the marketing for SsangYong, and the previous marketing person is also back in the field. We'll watch out for her, number 96, which is Alexandra Whitley.
Yeah, Tom's in the wrong gear there. You need to be using first gear going through turn 5 and 6. You've just got to use all the speed, all the momentum you can. This is Farhab in the front here. Of course, he started probably mid-pack, so he's having a pretty good run, because when he looks in the mirror, there's 20 of these angry little utes right behind him.
And look how much ground Prugine has made up already.
It's phenomenal. We're only lap 4 or 5 into this race, and he's already on the trail of the lead bunch of utes, so he's looking pretty fast.
So watch out for the LDV ute, number 96, and there she is, fresh from the W Series. Oh, one of them going a bit wide, going around turn 9. They'll be ticked off about that, but Alexandra Whitley back behind the wheel. She's actually borrowed her partner, Peter Bennett's overalls to go racing in this particular race today for the 40-minute enduro, so she can get a bit more seat time before she heads towards Manfield and the NZ Utes. And of course, we talked a bit about Christina Orr getting some great experience in this class and getting a GT3 victory. Alexandra Whitley was the first to actually notch up a female win in the NZ V8 Utes. So the SsangYong Racing Series being a fantastic pathway, not just for the blokes, but also for the racing women in New Zealand.
Of course, the new W Series, which are all starting to read so much international precedent. The FIA, who's the governing body, it's one of their endorsed series. We've got two of the candidates that are eligible for the series, Alexandra Whitney and Charlotte Ponting, both doing time in that series so to date.
Yes, so Alexandra's into the top 28, and we'll be going from a tin top like this to a single seater, an open wheeler. That's going to be the real big challenge. But right now it's all about setting yourself up for that pit lane window after 10 minutes, and who's going to decide to make the move. Here's Vanderloos, nicely, tight, not too loose.
No, but then you're on the outside. You're outside for the next 2 corners. Get out here. You can use all the curb on the outside, keep the momentum going. He's actually going to come across side by side. This is what I love about this SsangYong ute. You can go side by side, corner for corner, lap after lap. And we saw him on the outside. Now all of a sudden coming into turn 7, straight back on the inside again onto the favoured line.
So if you love your rhinos, get onto the website and see how you can help save the wild. There's Prugine. He's not going wild. He's just being really aggressive round the outside. Christina Orr, she's still stuck back. She's got that car that wants to turn right more than left, but she's on a left-turning track at the moment.
Todd, he's kind of in that situation where he's battling with a whole lot of competitors that don't have as much ute speed as him, probably just because of the experience, but they're all still having their own battles. So he's got to be relatively conservative at this point because he doesn't want to do anything silly.
Oh, one of them just locking up, as you do sometimes going into turn 11, but you can just see how much more aggressive 44 Todd Prugine is in that MW Civil ute and how he keeps the momentum going.
He's got the confidence, hasn't he? We saw that when we were in the ute before. I was in total awe of just how methodical and how calculated he was. And that's all part of that's what we see now. He's carrying confidence into the ute. And when you've got confidence in the vehicle you're racing, it's a formidable thing to have.
And of course, from a full reverse grid, he's going to work his way up to the front of the field and then potentially take his pit stop, so he could really position himself to be in a really powerful position for the sprint home.
And of course, we've had no one win the reverse grid race yet. Appreciate this is a 40 minutes enduro versus a 6 or 8 lap sprint race, but reality is we still haven't had anybody since this category's been going go from the back to the front in one race.
Interesting talking to
Here we go.
Peter Bennett, the defending champion. They did a lot of work before the mini enduros and the enduros last year in the pits. Of course, this time they don't actually have to stop, but all that hard work paid off and gave him a lot of momentum to snatch the championship last year. And you've got to say that Prujean's had lots of momentum going into this whole series.
Yeah, but the other thing too, we spoke about it last time we saw this concept run at Pukekohe. When they come into the pit lane, they don't have any speed limiters like we see in some of the other categories.
Quicken.
It's up to the driver to make sure they don't go faster than the 40 kilometres an hour. If they go 40.1 kilometres an hour, they're going to come back through for a drive-through.
So Watson trying to sneak down the inside at turn 8. Murray Brook, he's also been one of the real big improvers. In fact, these two have actually worked together. Let's see if they team up in this race to try and actually help each other take control.
Forget it. Not going to happen. Absolutely.
Well, here they are doing almost like that NASCAR setup, isn't it? Brook?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, look, these two guys are formidable competitors and they know where each other's strengths and weaknesses are, and they'll be playing on that because Todd will want to make sure he wants to get past Murray as soon as he can so he doesn't get held up should anything happen.
It's a drag race. SsangYong Action Series. Who's going to blink first? Down to the braking zone, going into the complex. Brook's going to go late and hard and out the wide. Oh, big, bold move, Prujean.
I actually thought he conceded the place and was going to follow Todd around, not the case at all. So,
No.
he sucked him in. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
He goes round the outside, then he says, I'm going to go do the pit lane.
Yeah, look, everybody's starting to wave now. That's the indicator saying come in next lap. Murray Brook, I think, is in the box seat in that one there. He left his decision to come off the track quite late. But either way, I think he suckered Todd in a little bit there.
I think that's why he wanted that right-hand line. So this is what you got to do, compulsory pit lane drive-through. You've done nothing wrong, it's just that everyone has to do it.
in the
There's
background.
drama there on the outside, and they're all going haywire. On board with Prujean around the infield, so Murray Brook comes back, so he's the first to do his compulsory pit lane drive-through, so that's his stop done. Now we can just go racing.
It is an eternity as well when you come through pit lane here because it's, you're coming off a high-speed flowing track and you just got to take your time. And the temptations there is to try to go a little bit faster, but of course you've got people with radar guns making sure that you don't go faster than the allocated speed.
Bit of the old radar love. On board the number 8 Cream Insurance car, that's Mark Mallard. Had a pretty good up and down weekend so far, but has shown genuine speed.
And that was the difference between what we saw Todd Prujean in earlier in car footage, where he was nice, smooth and calculated, Mark Mallard there on the throttle, off the throttle. That doesn't really do much for the ute, Brownie, because when you accelerate, the back goes down, the front comes up, and you back off, and the reverse happens, and you're fighting the mechanical grip when you're on and off the throttle the whole time versus just, applying the throttle gently, and then just being consistent with the throttle.
So I think Prujean's tactics here, his strategy is he's got to the front, he's got to try and build up a good lead, and then make his pit stop.
Yeah, he's not battling with anybody now, so he can just hit all the apexes, all the braking markers, and we know he's fast, and he's just going to get faster. He's ducking off. He's going to do his drive-through.
Looks like
I was
he's
going to
got
say penalty. It's not a penalty. His drive-through now.
Yeah, so he's built up his lead. Christina Raw's going to follow. So it's sort of like all the top ones are sort of keeping a close eye on each other, aren't they?
Well, you really got to, just in case there's a safety car. So what the leader does, you've got to respond within one lap, if not two, at the maximum, because if you're left out there and the safety car comes out, then all of a sudden you're out of sequence to everybody else.
So where does he come out? Does he come out in front of Murray Brook? Yes, he does. Oh, good move, and it's worked big time. But of course, the rest still have to pit. Stick around, that's coming up. Welcome back as we ride the ripples. Racing in the Mini Enduro. Race 3 of the SsangYong Action Racing Series at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo, and it's pit stop time. Christina Orr, she's back out on the track. 182, he's off the track, but of course it's a yeet. Matt Heaney can just plough through the field and get back onto the track.
Yeah, that Utes actually suffered an awful lot of damage in the left-hand front corner. We know structurally it'll be safe to continue, but it's obviously met some damage somewhere, but
It's not good to blow all that pumicy dust all over the track. That makes it very slippy for the other guys. Here's 22, Kirk Stoneman, always very tough, good, hard racer.
The captain's one of the genuine characters of the category, and he's been around forever, and he has so much experience, and he does a lot of grooming of the young drivers coming through, and they think it's invaluable because when you speak to him, he's been there and done it.
Mark Mallard out in front, number 8. Stoneman second, 22. James Watson. It's the white, red and blue, the top 3 at the moment. Don't forget, everyone still has to make their pit stop. And looks like Kirk Stoneman's going to go through that window, pit lane window, after 10 minutes, but before 30 minutes. And that's where the lead will chop and change.
One thing that's interesting is that not one of the competitors has actually followed the rules where it states you have to be inside the yellow lines that we see come into pit lane. Of course, we saw Murray Brook do that move earlier in Kirk Stoneman, so it'll be interesting to see if the officials take any action on that.
They'll use it as a guideline.
As a reference.
A reference. Point. And everything, remember, is open to interpretation. It's one man's opinion, or in this case, one woman's opinion, because we've got great to see all the ladies racing in the SsangYong Utes. Charlotte Pointing, Alexandra Whitley, Christina Orr, Kirk Stoneman, of course.
Well, Kirk Stoneman's made a lot of track time up. Sorry, Brownie, because he was battling probably 7th or 8th, but now he's come out just after Murray Brook and just before Christina Orr. So at some stage, he's actually made a lot of track time up, which is good to see because it's going to close that battle up towards the end of the race.
And this is where it's all about the strategy between the drivers. Do you pit early? Do you pit midway? Do you pit late?
Well, and that's like we covered off. If you're in a battle and you know that you can't go as fast as you can, you get out of the sequence as soon as possible. But when you're by yourself and you've got the momentum going, then you want to stay out there because the momentum's important. You're in the rhythm, you go, you go, you go. But of course, when you come in and you do your drive-through, you're actually breaking that rhythm that you've got. And sometimes it can take 1, maybe 2 laps to regather your thoughts again.
So Mark Mallard, he's been busy behind the wheel, busy behind the scenes. Or as the series organiser, James Watson, decides to follow suit. So they're going to tick off their compulsory pit lane drive-through, along with the other drivers in the field. And here is just the man that might be able to get the lead there. So Mallard was in front, and there's Prugine going through. So that's once again worked in favour of Todd Prugine.
He's just taking them off one by one. And unfortunately here at Taupo Motorsport Park, because it's such a modern track, you can't actually be creative about how fast you come into pit lane, because although there's someone with a radar gun, there's actually timing loops in the pit lane as well. So if you come in and you go too fast, you get picked up electronically versus someone with a radar gun. So you can't really cheat here.
And the first person to make that pit stop was number 30, Murray Brook. He's under pressure now from Stoneman. Mallard's come out in front of him. So it's Prugine, Mallard, Brook, Stoneman now. So it didn't work for Murray Brook being the first one to go. But, it's synchronised tap onto the grass, onto the pumicy dust. Hang on to it, good skills. Bit of rubbing and racing that time.
That was pretty cool. But now look at the amount of stuff that's been brought back on the track. Here we go.
Oh, there's the contact. There's the reaction. There's the recovery.
He's busy.
The late great Sir Colin Meads would be absolutely wrapped.
I'll tell you what, if you ever deserve a drink after that, that's it, because he just done so much work in the space of 2 seconds.
And here's another great bit of driving. In fact, a great bit of sportsmanship here by Murray Brook. He's actually readdressing that move, and he's let Stoneman retake that spot because he didn't want to take him out and then cop the penalty. So he's done it on the track while they're racing, which is great, isn't it?
Yeah, look, he must have thought he had a portion to blame. To be honest, I just thought it was a race-set incident. We've seen an awful lot worse through the previous races, but Murray made the decision to readdress, like you said, on the track, because the other option, the officials deem he's in the wrong, and he's got to do another drive-through pit lane, so that's pretty smart thinking.
So this is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th, and they've all done their pit lane stop, so they're just basically racing to the finish now. There's Mallard. So he's got a good spot. Behind him, Christina Orr. She's got plenty of racing room, but it's Todd Prugene. He's still way out in front, last lap. Mallard, can he get another podium? A double podium on the weekend for him. What a great result for the series organiser. Christina Orr, pretty good when you turn up and got a bent car and you still finish on the podium. Stoneman trying to hold off the challenge from Murray Brook. West having a look as well.
Of course, this is the sequence of corners where it come unstuck for both of them a few laps earlier. But look, Mark Mallard, man on screen, got a full credit to everything. He's ticked all the boxes, he's got his first podium. And like he said, he's actually doing it on merit, which is something he needs to be very proud of.
And of course, they had all that confusion in the opening race about how many last laps there were, but he knows this is the last lap that's going to count, and it's going to be another podium place. So he's going to be really, really pleased because he's doing it in style, along with this guy, Todd Prugene. Let's go on board the man who is setting the pace in the series so far.
Beautiful down changes, just a little bit of heel toe, which is a bit of a technical term about increasing the engine speed to match the gear you're in.
Is that difficult for the drivers like rookies and newbies to pick up, the heel and toe?
Oh, it is, because every car that they drive, learning to drive it on the road is an automatic. So it is a skill that you have to acquire, especially in the early formulas where it's still a manual transmission, and it's a critical one to master.
And it can still just feel awkward.
It is, yeah, but once you get it right, it's a pretty cool feeling.
So this guy has got a pretty cool feeling. 3 from 3 over the weekend. He's done it in style, number 44, and he's going to increase his lead in the SsangYong Action Racing Series. And there's that trademark drift as he takes another checkered flag. Mark Mallard, he's going to hold on for a really top finish, another podium finish for number 8 in the Cream Insurance car. So that's good skills. And this time he knows he's got it nailed. And Christina Orr, she just keeps on turning up, keeps on doing a great job. She'll round out the top 3. Then it's Stoneman, Brook, Watson. And the rest of the field will finish the 40-minute enduro. Todd Prugene, he's the man in the blue jeans at the moment. Mark Mallard, Christina Orr round out the top 3. Quinlan, Cherie, Whitley, good to see her into 8th after starting at the rear of the field. But at the moment, it's Todd who's got the nod.
Yeah, pretty happy with how it went. It was amazing racing. It was a tight start, but managed to get a gap and just kept cruising, and it was great fun. I was going to follow Mazda in, but then last minute changed my mind and just kept going for another lap.
The team Creme, we worked with James Watson early, and then he had made a little mistake and we went off, so we'd worked through the traffic pretty well, and then it was just clean laps, just go lap after lap after lap, and just try and get that gap while the others had pitted and use that clean space that we'd created. Came out, Todd was too good today. Just had a really good drive. And then I was just worried about New Zealand's fastest mum, Christina, coming after me. She was just closing and closing. Such a good driver with all that talent. And I just had to work and just keep my head clear and make sure that I didn't make any mistakes, because when you've got that sort of pressure coming, you've got to make sure you just drive clean and fast.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's our first endurance in a long time that, we finished, so I'm stoked. I was just trying to get my speedo to work again, and once it started working, I went, right, cool, I'll come in now.
On the points table, he started with a 6-point lead, and now Prugene has opened that up to 28, and it's only 26 between the M&Ms, Murray and Mark, in 2nd and 3rd. Next up, we head to Mighty Manfield and Circuit Chris Amon for round 4. BNZ, in association with LDV, Hankook, Elf and BGW, proudly present the SsangYong Action Racing Series.